Yo, 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 yo. What up? What up? What up, internets? What's going on, man? Obviously it's Big Waz. We're doing a live Woke Bros edition, y'all. Um, this is something new that we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing these things live to tape from now on, right here on YouTube. We'll try to get some guests every now and again, but this is definitely the new schedule that we're running with. Obviously, a lot of stuff to cover with the election in tow. So yeah, just be ready for this every single Thursday. The time won't be consistent, but it'll definitely be on Thursdays. Save for next week and the week after because I'm going on vacation. But yeah, just be looking out Thursdays all the way through election season, man. We're going hard with this. Obviously, for the podcast, you can still get it on the same podcast feed and all that, but we're definitely going live for the rest of the year, man. Honestly, the election is heating up. I feel like it was kind of super boring. We had this death march to Joe Biden getting his head cracked by Donald Trump at the polls. I think Nate Silver's model had it at 85-15, something ridiculous like that. Trump over Biden, like the probability of who would win. And it's only been like something like 18 days since Kamala announced. And bruh, she's the races are back to a toss-up. It's 50-50. Like she's made up 35 percentage points in terms of probability in 18 days, which just shows you how deeply disgusted and just over it people were with Joe Biden. They had no faith in his ability to lead this country going forward, and rightfully so. The guy could barely speak, could barely walk, could barely like it just looked horrible. And just the quick flip, man, of enthusiasm. I think they've raised, I think it's up to like 300, between 300 and 350 million dollars they've raised in, again, 18 days. You see the rallies they're doing all over the place in places like Wisconsin and Philadelphia. Like, it's crazy how quick the turnaround was. And I think it just speaks to what the people that would generally be supporting Democrats would want. Like, the proof is in the pudding, man. Like, I'm honestly kind of shocked at how this is all coming up aces for them. Like, I'm just not used to the Democrats seeming effective, seeming like they know what they're doing, seeming like they have all the messaging notes to hit, like seeming like they got their shit to get. Like, this just seems weird, honestly. And I think you guys are seeing, if you're paying attention to what's happening over there on the other side, like they seem to be caught wrong-footed. They seem to be out of their element, man. Like it's kind of crazy to watch what's happening with them. And so Trump, JD Vance, all the stuff, like all of the stuff they're trying with Kamala. Like, I think the first thing they tried to do was like basically call her a slut because of how she came up in California politics, Bay Area politics. Is just like, huh? You trying to appeal to the median swing voter like some regular normie, person out in the burbs somewhere, and how you do it is by calling this woman, who's, you can say what you want about her record, but like she's been elected to office, like, DA, states, the United States Senate. She's been the VP for the last 3.5 years. Like, you can say what you want about her record, but like, to sit here and be like, yo, how we're gonna impugn her is just calling her a slut. It's just like, bro, there's so much things that you can get at Kamala Harris for that doesn't have to, do this kind of dirty, muddy, negative kind of stuff. That I just look, I think it plays with both bases, right? I think any like blue, no matter who, blue MAGA person, like any nasty dig that you can put on JD Vance or Donald Trump, people are gonna eat it up. It's red meat. And I think the same goes for the most dyed in the wool MAGA people, like people who love Donald Trump, like they're gonna eat that kind of stuff up. But like those are not the people you're counting on to actually win the election. Those people are sewn up, they're locked up. There's nothing you can do to change them either way. Like, you shouldn't be playing to that group of your coalition. Like, you should be trying to convince people, like, look, these people stink on immigration. These people, they've overseen an inflationary economy, that rents and food prices and car prices and this and all of that stuff has been a disaster. Like, just bread and butter stuff, but they can't seem to do it. And which brings us to Kamala Harris somehow lucking into, like, I don't want to say lucking in, she made the decision, but somehow the Democrats making the choice that pretty much every single, I would say about 80% of progressives, people on the so-called left of the party, walking into the Veep stake, if you will, most of those people were talking about Tim Walz. And I just did the black thing where I put a T in his last name, Walz, governor out of Minnesota. Most progressives were backing this guy. And that's pretty much why I was 100% certain and sure that it wasn't going to happen. We'll get into his record in Minnesota and stuff like that, but obviously there was a legitimate sweepstake. These people were openly and publicly running for this nomination. Okay. Josh Shapiro was on every single TV show. He was given all the interviews. People from his camp, which we'll also get to, I guess. CNN did a big, like, sort of behind the scenes of the Veep stake. And I guess Josh Shapiro and them were, like, basically putting out, like, trying to get the messaging out in the media that this thing is sewn up. Josh Shapiro got it. Democratic governor of Pennsylvania. Andy Beshear out of Kentucky. He's the Democratic governor out of there. He was campaigning hard as hell for this nomination. And Tim Walz the same. From what we understand from the reporting so far, like, it came down to Shapiro and Walz. Walz got a bump because he went viral calling these guys weird. And Shapiro, and I think it must be said, just to get to him, I think why a lot of progressives or left-leaning Democrats were nervous about this guy, super duper muscular, pro Israel and how they're prosecuting the war in Gaza, to the point, at one point, he referred to college protesters basically in the same breath as KKK members. That was tough. He had this Obama, like, just loved the freaking charter school movement, which is anti-union, anti-teachers union, which, again, that didn't ingratiate him with the general left. And I think the whole, like, Obama cadence, like, I'm really ripping off Obama's style of speech. It just came off as, like, typical cookie cutter professional white collar class Democrat, just to a T. It was just too on the nose of the kind of Democrat that quite honestly Kamala Harris represents. Law school, lawyerly, corporate friendly, buttoned up, real, like, polished in all of the wrong ways, just super duper professional class, suburban as hell, nothing in common with the normal dude or gal. Just, to me, that was his biggest flaw. And I think it must be said because in the afterglow of Walz getting the nomination, I think people have kind of mistakenly tried to act like this guy was all horrible in terms of his progressive bona fides, and I don't think that's necessarily true. He took on a lot of financial interests in the states, like took some brave stances against them. I don't think he was just plug and play donor class candidate. I think this guy did have some legitimate progressive, like, bona fides, and super duper popular governor in an extremely important state in Pennsylvania, right? Like, the Dems, if they want to lock this thing up, if they want to go through the traditional blue wall, which is kind of disintegrated these past few years, especially since, Ohio is essentially no longer in play for the Dems. He just seemed like the conventional pick. I was sure. I just knew this was what's going to happen. Like, this is what the Dems do. They're just going to get the most, and he's not boring. I shouldn't say that. Like, this guy, he got a crazy pop at that rally in Pennsylvania. Of course, it's his home state, and they're introducing Tim Walz as the brand new VP. But like, this guy, he was a credible candidate. I don't think there's any two ways about it. I just think the fact that Tim Walz ended up ultimately sewing this thing up, it has to, like, I don't know how you see this as anything but a sea change in how the Democrats do business, man. Like, this just would not have been the pick 8 years ago. It just, like, Hillary Clinton, hell no. It wasn't going to happen. Obama went out and got Joe Biden, who by then had already been, in national government for like 30 years. That was 08. He was already 30 years in, right? So to pick Tim Walz, and why is like Tim Walz such a different type of pick, man? And I want to give a shout out to my man, Ken Klippenstein, formerly of Jacobin, real lefty, has a great Substack. You guys should go check out if you guys don't already follow this homie. But he put out a piece on a Substack titled "Tim Walz is the weird one because he's normal." And he went on to just explain like the things that separate this guy from your general Washington insidery politician. Like, one, Klippenstein goes on to note, like in 2003, when Kamala Harris was elected district attorney of San Francisco, this dude was teaching high school social studies and coaching football in Minnesota, like a high school football coach, literally. Okay, a high school, public school, high school teacher. That's about as not elite as it gets. Like, this guy, not that long ago, man, was just a normal dude. Okay. This isn't your typical professional consultant class Democrat. Like, he's just not. And of course, he's from a rural area. And we don't need to do the identitarian sort of, because he's from this rural area, that means that he knows what's right. It's just when you add all of these things together, his background, not just where he grew up at and where he's from, but like his career, okay? 24 years in an Army National Guard as a reservist. Okay, also not normal. 24 years of this. I thought it was cool that Klippenstein pointed out another thing that was unique about him in terms of VP picks. He didn't go to law school. Like, all of these guys, when you get to this elite level of party politics, like, it's all of these same kinds of people that end up in the job. And I just thought it was crazy that the last time a freaking Democratic Party vice presidential pick didn't go to law school was 1960, y'all. Okay? So go down the list. Kamala Harris went to University of California, Hastings College of Law. Tim Kaine, Harvard Law. Joe Biden, Syracuse Law. John Edwards, UNC Law. Joe Lieberman, Yale Law. Al Gore, Vanderbilt Law. Lloyd Benston, UT, Austin Law. Geraldine Ferraro, Fordham University Law, which I thought was pretty cool. Went to school in the Bronx. It's hard. Walter Mondale, Minnesota Law. Sergeant Shriver, Yale Law. Edmund Muskie, Cornell Law. Hubert Humphrey, Minnesota Law did not complete. So, like, the diversity of this guy's background is just not typical of who gets a seat at the table, especially if they're going to anoint you, that you didn't get it out the mud and earn these nominations and these committees and all of this stuff on your own. And then you got to talk about the guy's actual freaking record. Okay. The universal school lunch for public school kids in Minnesota, huge. Okay. Child tax credit for parents earning under 80, or excuse me, universal free college for families under 80K. Child tax credit after Biden and them. Um, after Biden and them let that law lapse, he passed it in the state. So you get like $1,800 per kid. Didn't limit the amount of kids that you could claim on this. Like, guys, this is, bro, this I'm laughing because this is like the legitimate progressive type of legislation and policy that 9 out of 10 Democrats pay lip service to, that this guy actually got done in the state of Minnesota with a 1 seat freaking majority in the state legislature. So it's not like these guys were dominant in the state government. And he got all of this stuff passed. And I'm just like, and again, and I think most important, because I think the policy stuff is dope to us. If you really care about stuff that affects everyday normal people, like that, a kid could go to college and not take on some crazy massive debt. Okay. They can go to a state school and get a nice education. And they don't have to be hamstrung after they complete their bachelor with all this crazy debt. So that he's accomplished that is just wild. And that he would be the pick when, man, I just knew they was going to go with Mark Kelly, the astronaut white dude from Arizona. I just knew. I was like, it's going to be Mark Kelly. It's going to be Roy Moore. It's going to be any other of these milquetoast white Democratic Party dudes. And I think for me, the Walz thing that I like the most in terms of strategically, why he is, to me, the most effective one, because of his affect, his public affect and demeanor. He seems the vibes. Because let's face it, guys. I mean, as much as I'm not somebody who has contempt for the electorate like some other people do, I don't think like people are just stupid. But I just don't think people have the time to like really sit up here and like line by line, read somebody's policy agenda and what they passed in their previous positions in government. But I think there is a vibes element that matters. And just this guy's general affect, he's a normal dude. Like this, like trying to step away from the cookie cutter Hillary Clinton, Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush type of politician has been the trend. The reason Bernie Sanders had so much steam in 2016 and 2020, the response was like, we're tired. We're tired of these regular ass cookie cutter politicians who's just cardboard, bro. Stiff as fuck. This guy is the antithesis of that. And the fact that this shit won over is absolutely crazy. I'm literally still floored that this happened. Now, look, we can pour some cold water on this. And shouts to Orange Sodas. Salute to Walz and the Minnesota legislator. Get your comments in. We could throw some cold water. Like, he's still the VP. Like, he's not going to be shaping the agenda of the Democratic Party, but I bet he'll have an ear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if he's going to be Dick Cheney up in there. I have a hard time believing that all those corporatist Dems that, Kamala's going to have on her advisory board, her aides and stuff like that, best believe is going to be corporate class Dems all up and through that administration if these folks win. But like, just having him there is a win. But don't make no mistake, like, this is baby step in the right direction in terms of how the Dems handle their business. But like, this is legitimately cool. I don't know how else to read this. Like, this is just dope. What else did I want to hit? Yeah, I thought another thing that was crazy about the hold on, nodding yellow says still believe it's a matter of time before Walz gets filtered into the Democratic Party line. Admirable selection though for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, again, I'm not up here telling you that like this guy's gonna go in there and we're gonna get the second New Deal, right? He's gonna go in there and convince Kamala to like go FDR and completely overhaul our entitlement system, completely overhaul the nonsense we're doing with, college education, completely overhaul, the investments that we make in our people. I'm not, come on, man. After we got swindled, hoodwinked, and bamboozled by Obama and them in the Hope and Change in '08 and 2012, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me. You're not going to fool me again. Like, I'll believe that when I see it. I'm not gonna jump off the roof here with that. No. So yeah, we could pour some cold water on that, but this is crazy. And if you go out and you read the CNN thing, and which I encourage you guys all to read, the people that went to bat for this dude, it was insane. It literally ran the gamut of the freaking party. All the progressives loved him, obviously, but Nancy Pelosi was on board. Obama was like, nah, I'm not digging the Shapiro cat. Get him out of here. Obama, Pope Barry went to bat for this dude. Joe freaking Manchin, okay, was behind the scenes like, no, Walz is the guy. Obviously, Bernie Sanders was like, no, this is the guy. This is who we want. I thought it was huge, of course, UAW coming out because Josh Shapiro, with his thirst for these goddamn charter schools, he kept unions at arm's length. He's been keeping unions at arm's length. UAW was like, he's not our guy. We like Waltz and we like the other dude. Okay? So UAW came out like the freaking breadth of the support. Like, this is legitimately I don't know how you see this as something different happening within the party. Okay. And so yeah, man, I think it's cause to celebrate again because I think on the messaging, the problem for Joe Biden and why he had to go, this dude could not effectively pitch himself for president. He couldn't go out there and make a case for himself because he's too old and feeble. This guy is going to be able to prosecute the case as to why you don't want Donald Trump in there. And man, so I guess we could get to, because it's starting. It started immediately, but it's starting, and they're trying to rev this thing up. The sort of Oppo research thing, some of the stuff that they're doing, I just don't think it's gonna work. Couple of reasons. One, I think the amount of time you spend trying to slander Tim Walz is time you're not using to go after the top of the ticket, which is ultimately who people care about for sure. So that's a one. Two, it's like, oh, the BLM stuff. He wasn't good at BLM. He didn't send the National Guard in fast enough in 2020. Like, I don't think people give a fuck about 2020 anymore. They're calling him Tampon Tim because I guess he was, he was kind of muscular in his defense of the rights of trans children and stuff. I guess they had tampons in the boys' bathrooms or something like that. I don't think you want to beat that to death. I don't think people want to hear about that. I think the latest thing today, they're coming after his record in the army, saying that he's like false valor or whatever, where, legitimately, the details are kind of tedious, man, about like his rank and what he said and where he was at and blah, 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 blah. They're saying that he dipped out on his guys before he went to, before they had to go to Iraq. They're saying that he's embellished his record when he says that he held weapons and blah, 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 in war zones and things of that nature. They're coming at his military record, which again, I mean, if we're going to play this game like Donald Trump draft dodging ass, like with the bone spurs or whatever the hell it was with him, like, I just don't think this is going to be an effective line. It's kind of just wild. Like, if you look at the true social posts coming out of Trump world, like they're flailing, dude. They were just so convinced that they were going to coast and just smoke Joe Biden. And it's just not happening. And look, November's a long time away. Like, if you are, somebody who wants to see the Dems do well in November, which I would assume if you're listening to this pod, you do, they're gonna eventually find something that's like better than what they've come up with. But like, the Kamala thing just coalescing so quickly, they were caught wrong-footed by that. And then this Walz thing where they're just like, damn, like, bruh, hold on. I need to find this graphic. Okay. Let me let me just read to you guys. I should have sent this to Jerv earlier, but it's fine. Actually, Jerv, throw this thing up. I'm gonna send this to you now. Throw this thing up for me, Jerv, up on the screen, because the Fox News freaking graphic that they put up where they're showing it's like this is the terrible, these are all the terrible things that Tim Walz did. Tim Walz's quote unquote communist agenda. This is a Fox News, this is a Fox business graphic. This just ain't gonna work. Jerv, yeah, maximize that thing. Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Jerv. So you guys see it here. This is what they're calling the communist agenda. Like, guys, this is not going to work. Unsupervised female health decisions. Like, what? What? Yes, women get to go to their freaking doctor, and yeah, it's unsupervised, and they get to do what they do. Like, hello, rampant LGBTQIA plus rights. Okay, people are like fine with that. Like, you know what I think a lot of people on the right underestimate? I think the vast majority of Americans are pretty, like, I guess you would call them libertarian when it comes to this, like, these social stuff, like this personal social stuff. Like, I don't want an abortion for myself, but if people want to do it, like, that's on them. Like, I'm not gay and all of that, whatever, but they want to get married, like, that's on them. Like, people want to sit around and smoke weed, like, whatever, that's on them. Like, the vast majority of Americans don't really believe in this crazy police state, bro. So, like, this shit ain't gonna work. School lunches for unemployed minors? Like, you can't be serious. He wants to feed kids in public school so they're not freaking starving to death. Medical care for elderly, sick, and injured. Taxes on corporate profits. Like, what? Free non-Christian college. Believe in climate change. Bruh, Jerv, you can take that down. Like, bruh, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. Now, look, Kamala, I think it's a bad look that she hasn't sat down for an interview. I get it. The media is kind of biased to love the Dems, like the corporate media, they just are, so they don't really care. But trust me, man, like, if it was Donald Trump doing this, like, people would feel away. Gotta be fake. Gotta be fake. Maybe it's a Photoshop. Maybe I got fooled. But yeah, like, the things that are gonna work for them, the winning things for the Republicans are the border. People are legitimately pissed about the border, immigration, stuff like that, and the economy. In terms of these crazy rents, just crazy inflation all over the place. That's what you got to do. Like, this idea that you, like, anytime they're doing this other stuff, they're legitimately in trouble, dude. And like, poll after poll keeps coming out, Kamala's gaining grounds on these people. Like, it's nuts. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just surprised at how well this thing is going, how well they're managing all of this. Obviously gonna keep you guys locked into that. But yeah, man, this is interesting. Like, we've known basically for 4 years that it was going to be a Trump and Biden rematch again. And so this race, quote unquote, just felt so boring and stale. And like, nobody was enthused. Like, everybody had a collective, like, really? These two dudes again? And just the enthusiasm behind the Kamala thing is just amazing. Just incredible to watch. Now, Team USA, guys. I'm proud to be an American. Listen, y'all. I watched this thing from start to finish. Bruh, Serbia comes out and they basically cannot miss a shot. I thought the US was fine, mostly on offense when they weren't coughing the ball up, which has been a problem all tournament. But I thought they were fine, but Serbia just would not miss. And then they got just extra comfortable, just running their stuff. Jokic, like, all right, yo, I'm going to force the switch. I'm setting the screen to get a switch, not even to set a good screen for my man half the time. I want the switch, encourage the double, find the open. It was like, oh my God, we go into the fourth down 13, 14 points. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is how Steph, Bron, KD are going to end their USA run by going down to the Serbs in the goddamn semifinals. And then, wouldn't you know it, Joel Embiid gets in his bag, 7 straight points. Steph, all game. Oh my God, this was the Steph Curry game. He was just sublime. This was the Steph Curry we've been praying on. But he made that huge shot that rattled in where the guy tried to flop when Steph comes off the flare screen and the dude flopped and Steph was wide open, rattled that 3 in. That KD 3 where, Jokic pushes AD into his knees. That could have went bad. KD splashes it. We get the rock back. Book splashes a 3, and that's when I was like, okay, here we go. Here we go. LeBron with some amazing defensive possessions, rebounds, that full court twisty layup. Woo! Bogdanovich, that moment where he made the the 3 ball and then he did it to Melo. Oh my God, that was insane. Yeah, and I forget the guy's name. One of the itches on Serbia. They're up 2, about 150 to go. Wide open 3 above the break 3. Bricks it. And yeah, that was the game, man. KD in isolation, up 2 with about 35 to go. Tells everybody to get the hell out of his way. Crosses, fade away long 2. Buries it. Woo, what a game. What a game. Guys, I had lost all hope, dude. But man, Bron, Steph, KD, MB down the stretch, Book with a big 3. It was a team collective effort. Of course, Curry was awesome all game. Jokic, the way this guy just controlled the game is just insane. Like, he only dropped 15, but like, if you watch this game, it was him. He was the most dominant player on the floor this game. And Bogey made some huge shots, man. But man, we advance and we're gonna play France in the final. I think we're gonna smoke these guys, honestly. Just the way we're gonna be able to comfortably play our favorite defensive lineups. I think we're gonna have that team in a vice grip. Their guard play is so suspect, and like the Wemby matchup defensively is like there's absolutely nothing to be worried about there in terms of guarding him. I think we're going to cruise to victory in the gold. I knew Serbia was going to be our toughest matchup because they have Jokic. They have the best player in the world with a bunch of guys who, yes, they have like 4 other NBA guys, but the continuity, like when you watch Serbia play, like these guys are a mind meld. Like these dudes have a very fine understanding of how they want to attack every single possession. And all of these athletes on Team USA, and they like, for most of the game, didn't even feel their presence. So tip my cap to Serbia, their coaching staff. These guys played their asses off. They damn near pulled this thing off. But USA showing that grit in the fourth quarter, never panicking. By the way, salutes to Dwayne Wade on the call. Like, I haven't really loved his calls all Olympics, but like his composure, whereas, like, I know for a fact if I was calling that game, I would have been miserable. And then when the comeback was happening, I would have been, like, too excitable. Like, his even kill call of the game, like, yo, like, this thing is still within striking distance, blah, blah, blah. Like, shouts to D Wade for that. But, man, just LeBron, Steph, KD, man, these old brothers, man, just willing us to victory. It's just, and to see the emotion that, like, these dudes really care. They really love this shit. They really representing us out there, man. Shouts to my man Pavi, who is out in France right now. He made the trip over there. He watched the game from TVs in the Soho House in Paris, and he was like, "Boy, when I tell you it was 99% against the U.S., 99% of the people in France wanted the eagle to go down, y'all. Not today, but yeah, big up to the eagle, man. Look, I'm not gonna make a big deal about Jason Tatum not playing. I don't know. You guys watched that game. Like, did y'all see like moments or like instances that Tatum would have utterly been like such a huge upgrade to what we had out there? I didn't see it. You know, I'd be surprised if he didn't play up against France because I think a heavy switch lineup, big wings, and all of that. That's all we got to do on these cats, man. Like AD, Bam, Tatum, Ant Edwards, Drew Holiday. Like once we really like put the vice grip to these cats on defense, we're gonna smoke these kids. I'm telling y'all, yo. I'm telling y'all. We're gonna embarrass them in front of their fellow countrymen. And we're gonna get our 5th straight gold medal. Just a hell of a game, man. I might have to replay that thing, or just replay the 4th, because that was just too exhilarating. But yeah, man, shouts to the Yanks for getting us to the gold medal round. Woo! Feels good, man. Again, shouts to my man John Gervais on the boards, man. As always, keeping the trains flowing and running on time. Make sure you become a Patreon, patreon.com/count the dings. We're gonna be doing this, guys. We're not gonna be doing it for the next 2 weeks because I've earned it. I'm going on vacation next week. Going to Italy, going to Rome, and then going to Barcelona in Spain. Yeah, gonna be out in Europe for about 12 days. So obviously when I come back, I'll update you guys on that. And yeah, we'll be in the thick of things in terms of the presidential race. And so yeah, man, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Peace out, y'all.